Happy Tuesday night, folks. Welcome to the TPO Doc Talk podcast. It's me, Gene, your host. Thank you to the Heroes Media Group Network for connecting us up here, for hosting such an awesome platform for our shows here. As a reminder, this show tonight is pre-recorded. We are not live. I am traveling right now. Chances are I am someplace in Spain with my beautiful wife, and we are checking out things abroad over the pond. And no, I don't get a chance to go bass fishing over there, but that's all right. Lots of fishing to be done before I left. Lots of fishing going to get done when I get back. But we're making this little video here just for this purpose. Since we're going to be traveling, we wanted to make sure we had something dropping for you on Tuesday night here. Again, we are pre-recorded. Just so if you're commenting or whatever and I'm not replying to you, I love you. Thank you for commenting. But that's why, is because this is a recording and it's not live. As always, all TPO Doc Talk podcast brought to you by the Romans Warrior Foundation. # helping is healing. Go check them out at Romans Warrior Foundation. Dude, if you want to find ways to help, if you believe in the causes of being able to help our brothers and sisters out in the warfighting communities, go check out Romans Warrior Foundation. This is an amazing organization. Get behind it. It's got its fingers in a lot of different areas here that bring alternative methods to providing healing across this entire nation. The TPO Doc Talk podcast, the True Patriot Outfitters as a whole would not exist without this organization. They are the lifeblood of what put us on the map. And they're why we exist. We collaborate with them across on all of the outdoor stuff. That is the RWF Field Ops division. That is ours. We work together hand in hand to make those trips come true with your support. So go check them out there and all the other cool areas. And as I said before, the Heroes Media Group, Adam Bird, the entire team over there, all of the great podcasts that are on here every night of the week here. Go check them out. Heroes Media Group. It's an awesome organization that gives a platform for these type of shows to be out there to help provide more support. And if you're really down like a clown, if you are actually one of the cool kids, dude, go check out the TPO merch store. All right, TruePatriotOutfitters.org/store-2. Go check it out there. You can get hats, T-shirts. We got our 2025 calendar. All proceeds, all profits that come from that after we pay for the items themselves, those go directly to the TPO programs that help us put equipment in the hands of these warriors that we take out. Helps pay for the expenses to get them there with food and lodging and gas and all that good stuff. Anything that's sold at our store, it goes directly to that. So if you're looking to get some cool merch, be one of the cool kids out there and support an awesome mission that we have, then yeah, go check them out there. All right, the bills are paid. What's the recap deal coming down? I'll tell you what a recap is. For us, dude, 3.5, 4 years ago, this started as a labor of love, if you will. And our journey has been documented through YouTube, just highlighting certain areas that we have out there that really put things together. We started long ago with our YouTube channel, but we actually morphed it into what we see that is available online that we haven't killed and gotten rid of. Goes all the way back to 2020, so 5 years ago. In May, and basically it started with some videos we put up of the new Z21 that we had picked up. We were breaking in the motor and doing a little ride along out there and checking the boat out and seeing things. And then we did some maintenance tips as we were part of the Mercury Pro team, so we did some maintenance stuff with our Mercury. That got some good traction. And we started to evolve, man. It was Gene Campbell Fishing, then it was GC Fishing. GC Fishing LLC, those were the evolutions over the course of the next few years, until eventually you see what you see here today, which is the TPO, True Patriot Outfitters, 501c3 nonprofit. And the podcast was created with the sole purpose of just getting this message out there, using our connections in the fishing industry to talk fishing and to bring and raise awareness to the benefits of getting outdoors and what that can do for a sector of our community that more than deserves it and more than needs it, especially when you started seeing the what you could do this instead of some of these other things. And man, it took off. Our very first let's see if we can share some of this stuff here. We're going to share, and we're going to do an entire window here. Yeah, we're going to share that bad boy. All right, so not yet. I'm going to move through these to save. So basically, we go back here, and as I'm looking down through a lot of the stuff, in the initial season when we were first starting the podcast, we called it the True Patriot Podcast. And we split a lot of these long shows up into like 1, 2, and 3 parts. We didn't really understand how algorithms worked, so on and so forth. So we'd take these great interviews and we'd chop them up in post-production and just kind of try to get more traction out of it. And we learned rapidly that was basically like spreading the butter too thin on toast, man. It just did not work. But one of the very first, I wanted to pick up here. Here it was, man. It's there's a little bit of cringe now that I watch it, but you know what? It's cool to see where we came from. The very first, 1 second here. I'm going to put this up here. This is the season 1, episode 1, November of 2021. That's when we first rolled out the True Patriot Podcast, and this was still when we were under an LLC back then. But let's go ahead and share this up. I just want to give you just a couple minutes of it here, and then we'll move on from that. Let's put it full screen for you. But yeah, so as you can see, oh, listen to that intro music. And dude, this filter that I put on the intro, I didn't realize the amount of like potential seizures that it was going to cause. I thought I was being artsy. This was back in the boat days, keep in mind too. We hadn't started the nonprofit, hadn't really got into the kayaking side. That was my boat. That was the trip that changed everything right there.
And welcome to the first episode of the True Patriot Podcast. GC Fishing LLC bringing you this here, brought to you by, of course, True Patriot Outfitters.
So I was kind of skinny then.
Store where you can buy things at the same price you normally would, but know that a percentage of that sale is going to our veteran support services to help us with the guided fishing trips, keep the truck on the road, get some equipment in their hands, little care packages, things of that nature. True Patriot Outfitters will be dropping when thoughts we can send their way. Absolutely, we're going that way. But so many people that he be missed, but he will also forever never be forgotten.
You know, the production value alone, I will say that we were doing some work. There was a lot of talking, and a lot of news articles and such. But one of the cool things that we were doing back then, if I can show you this here, let's add this back to the stage. We went down and timelined these videos so you could get to any section of the video that you wanted. And we did quite a bit in the areas of the videos themselves, just trying to be more, I guess, in tune with what our viewers were looking for. TPO Doc Talk Podcast Heroes Media Group is what we're now evolved into. But back then it was GC Fishing. So what we were doing is we were actually doing work for nonprofits. That's basically how that came about. We were performing work for the nonprofits in the form of advertising and promotions and such. That was what we were doing at that point to try to help them boost up there. It was completely 100% all volunteer work that we were doing on top of trying to chase fish around. We were just using our platform at that point. And that was about the time when we met and got connected with Brian Romans here. And for what it's worth, you can check out all of this stuff at True Patriot Outfitters. Go out to YouTube there, go check it out. You can look TPO Doc Talk Podcast if you research that right there. That's all you need to do is type that bad boy in there, and you can look under the shows that we have under the podcast playlist. Some of these were live. We didn't do as many live shows way back when, but a lot of these, were all recorded and went through post-production and such when we put them up there. So you can check back all these. I'm about to show you just some cool interviews that if you haven't had a chance to see them, you definitely want to, because some of these interviews were just amazing. Where in going back and seeing where we started, and it's cool to see that the mission remains the same, man. 4 years running. We're still out there. We're still doing what we're doing. We haven't given up yet. We haven't given up. We won't give up. We won't stop. We're going to keep moving, and it's through support from awesome folks like yourself that are watching this, getting us that viewership, and helping us through these areas, giving us some connections to people that can, obviously throw the financial side to us, buying stuff from the merch store, subscribing on YouTube. All these things are ways you're supporting us and helping us move forward, and it's a huge deal. But that was season 1, episode 1, man. And as coming out the gates, I had a few connections with a few people out there, and one of the ones that we had, I want to stop for a sec. Couple cool things that I enjoyed going through this recap is watching how our intros have evolved, right? We've changed a few of those things a little bit. Again, keep in mind, we're still an LLC back in these days. We hadn't moved into the nonprofit game. We didn't do that until December of 22 is when we officially became, we shut the LLC down. We officially closed the doors on GC Fishing LLC and opened up brand new True Patriot Outfitters. Now, we were using the True Patriot Outfitters as a DBA for our LLC back in those days. That's why you see the True Patriot podcast and such when we came back. But here was an awesome one, man, that we were super, super stoked to bring this guy on, because it's a guy that I've had a chance to meet, spend some time with. He and his wife are amazing people. It's one of the good guys, 100%, of course, in the bass fishing world. And for the last 30 years, the man has been influential across many careers, including my own, through this stuff here. But let me introduce you here. We'll put this bad boy up. Let you enjoy just the intro and a couple minutes of meeting this guy. We'd evolved and got rid of that stupid filter. I'll tell you that. We're still running the boat, though, back in those days. We were starting to play with the kayaks a little bit. Matt Steffen there. We had a few big names that we were able to bring in here. Couple things I wanted to point out here. Look at those just blaze red ear muffs that I'm sporting there, dog, and those BCs. Boy, I got some BC reading glasses on right there. I just turned 50, right, and it was really hitting me, and so I needed some readers, and those readers are 100% BC issue. There's no doubt about it. Yeah, man. But I'll tell you what, having Mike on here, this was an amazing interview. If you get a chance, go back, search this up, Mike McClellan on our channel. You'll see this McStick, man. This guy, you want to talk about the definition of class, the definition of a professional, that's it right there. Mike McClellan. He and his wife are some of the most beautiful people you'll ever encounter in your life. And what they've done for just people around them, their family, the sport of fishing for all of us out here, it is amazing stuff. And Mike is somebody I'm proud to call my friend, and to watch him do the work that he does out there is truly impressive. I've had the pleasure of being in the boat with him. How I met him was I was a marshal at an event for the Bass Pro Tour when it was first getting going. And I was actually, they were doing a joint deal with the FLW back then. And I got a chance to spend the entire day in a boat, meet his wife and so forth. And since then we've kept in touch, and we've spoken several times. He's been on the show a couple times. But this was the very first interview, man. And we were coming out the gates swinging, with this stuff. It was a big deal for us to try to gain some traction early on. And it's one of those interviews that just sticks out from that first season. It was something we were extremely stoked about, and very, very pleased to put together. 1 second here. There we go. So let's see here. We'll cut back through here as we dig through some of these, some of the past here, some of these videos. So yeah, man, that was, like I said, for season 1, that was kind of a deal for us, is that we were kind of stretching our legs. We were getting to know things. I was getting used to the equipment, getting used to doing podcast. I'd never done podcasting stuff before, right? I mean, this was just, we'd done some videos, and we put some videos up. We did some how-to tips. We did some things like that. That was basically what we did. And then all of a sudden we started getting into this. We had some interviews. Matt Steffen from Wisconsin, that he was one of the first pros. He was the first pro that we put on the show. We talked to some other nonprofits out there. Let's see, who else do we have in here? Justin Fox from Dive Rescue International. We were talking about ice safety. We kind of threw that stuff up there. That's from our background in involved in that Warrior Bonfire program. We had those guys on here. And then, of course, we made the announcement, the official announcement, February 1, 2022, with Romans Warrior Foundation, our joining of forces with them. Shortly thereafter, we brought Doug Chapin on, MPFL Pro, that I met many, many, many years ago fishing the BFLs down on La Crosse in that area. Doug Chapin now fishes the MPFL as a pro. We had him on there. Let's see, who else do we have in here? Operation Equine. And you guys might know this guy here. Let's pull this up. There we go. Let's get this one. You guys might know this dude here. We have Mr. Jody Queen join us on the show, man. First professional kayak angler we had come on board.
That's what everybody's goal is as an angler in this sport. And, just being there, I qualified 5 times out of 6 for that.
Dude, you want to follow this one for sure, because this was a fantastic interview that we had done with Jody. Jody is a U.S. Army vet as well, and man, I'm telling you, he is everything you think he is. He is that guy. Jody is an amazing human being. We love him to death. We also call him a friend now after having him on the show and meeting him, a couple times online here. Never had the opportunity to meet Jody in person, but I can't wait to do so I can shake his hand and thank him face to face for all he's done for helping us. He really helped us gain a lot of traction early on with the podcast in the kayak community. If you touch a kayak and you consider fishing professionally, or not professionally, but competitively, then you know Jody Queen. I mean, you've seen videos, and if you haven't, you're usually getting beat. Watch the videos the man puts out, because he's gonna help you quite a bit with his tips and tricks. And so for Jody to come on our show, and help us out early on like this, when we were literally a nobody out there. We had maybe 60 subscribers at the time when Jody came on board. and helped us with this. It was super cool that Jody was willing to help us out there, and he's come on every season since we've had him. And I was just considering bringing him back on here mid-season here, just to kind of keep things rolling there. But man, that was the whole MO that we had was to get some bigger names out there and try to get some interesting interviews done, right? I mean, that was our whole purpose. We used the platform the way we intended to do it, which was use fishing to grab attention, bring people in, and then basically also raise awareness to the fact that we're doing this kind of work that we were doing there. And that's what season 1 really was. Season 1 was all about that. When we closed out season 1, it was basically we had the Wolfpack support system. We had a couple more nonprofits come on to close things out. And then we opened things up with season 2, and that would have been roughly March range, February, March of, what would that have been, 2022. So that was all 21 leading up, kind of doing what we were doing. We were evolving things. We changed a few things around. And for season 2, we started right off the gates. We had Alex Rojas, who is a very well-known angler and just a contributor and ambassador to our sport right here in Colorado. Alex, also a veteran himself. We had him come on the show in season 2, like right out the gates. We made some announcements about our new canoe connection. We had Shields in here. We had Ronnie Romero. All these guys are big names from the Colorado Kayak Fishing Club. We had Blake Young from New Canoe come on the show. We interviewed him. That was a super fun interview that we had with him. Let's see here. We're going to keep moving forward as we look through. And I know I've got just a couple more that we wanted to share with you here. Season 2, let's see. Season 2 looks to be like a small season. Yeah, it was only about 12 episodes there. We'd done a few videos there. We had that was our Pickwick Lake. We had gone to Pickwick that year in October of 22. Made that run. Done some tackle tip stuff. Our Lewis and Clark event that we did for the All American Kayak Series. That was a pretty cool deal. And oh man, look at that! August 18th, 2022. We put our boat up for sale. What does that tell you? Man, we were going all in on the kayak series. That's what that should tell you. Yeah, man, that was a total. Now here's a good one. Just let's see here. Let's bring this guy up.
So I've been telling you all along that this water is super low here at Red Willow, and that some of the best cover to fish is out of the water. And I'm looking on the bank right now, sitting in about 7 foot of water.
This is me snooping the northern side of. I thought this was something different. Oh no, this one's a pretty cool one. Yeah, that's stuff that's normally under the water. Look at the age of that stuff. I mean, some of the things you get a chance to see when you're out on the tournament trail, man, is amazing stuff. Normally, that's completely submerged there. You see that water line way back up there. But super cool things, and that's really what we tried to do, is take people along with us, on these adventures that we were going on, just trying to share some of the cool things that you could actually see, out there. That was kind of a big deal for us, to really try to bring that to our listeners and so forth. Season 3 opened up though, dude. Let's get moving along here. So season 3, where are we at? Here it is. We had Jody Queen, season 3. Which one is this?
Give these guys a shit.
Okay, so new intro, season 3 kicked in. Let's fire this bad boy up. New intro kicked in, and we had a little bit different camera view, a little bit different things going on here. How about this?
7, Monday. The new episode drops today.
So this was November 2022. We were all in on the kayak side, but we were still GC fishing. That was still the deal. And we weren't doing many live shows, man. None at all. We were doing basically primarily just recorded stuff, occasionally close to live, and this was it.
Hopefully by the time it does drop, it's still relevant, the information we're bringing to you. And so, yeah, man, that's going to be our hope here. So this is,
And I was starting to pork up. I mean, I can see it there, dude. I was starting to pork up a little bit.
Had a little bit of a break here, to be honest with you. I turned a half a century a few days ago, and told myself, we're going to take a couple days off here, and we're going to disconnect from pretty much everything as much as we can, and did so. And I got to tell you, man, I had the most amazing time, thanks to, of course, my best friend, my absolute better half. My wife made this birthday something to never forget with her planning and connivery. I had.
So that was season 3 as we get going. It's basically a full recap, basically, that goes over what the season's going to look like and some of the information that we were going to throw out there. We didn't have anybody on the show. We talk about a bunch of different topics. Again, we tried to do a ton more. We spotlighted throughout here fishing news, kayak news, All-American Kayak Series, current events, GWAT wall, as you can see. We covered quite a bit, and we give you that opportunity just to click the timeline to get through it. So if you don't want to hear me yapping, you don't have to. It's all basically right through there that you can check out. And that was basically season 3 to start things off, right? We got things going, but then let's see, who do we have? Here's a key one. We're coming up to some milestones here. So season 3 was the first time that we had on the show who would end up becoming basically just complete podcast gold for us. The CKB championship had wrapped up. Leslie Ali took the state championship, and for the first time I had Leslie and Eric both on the show, man. This was an amazing show. It was awesome stuff, and just listening to these guys chat. Let's get it to the stage here. We'll get it full screen for you. Let's get through this.
Beautiful area down there. We stayed a little, it wasn't a fancy resort, but it was a little resort right on the lake. I was able to get a boat slip inside.
What I want to point out real quick is one of the things I love about Leslie Ali so much is that what you see is exactly who she is. She is so zen, man. She is so dialed into things. That was almost a schoolgirl laugh that she gave her husband right there when he's like, makes her so dangerous. She's like, ha, I'm not dangerous. But to the rest of us, yes, you are, Leslie, champ. You are dangerous, and your state championship proved that. Leslie's very much in tune with things, and I think as she continues her career in tournament stuff, as long as she stays rooted to that as to where she's at, she will always be dangerous out there. Leslie and Eric Ali, if you've not had a chance to check out from this, the first interview, to any of the titles we have with Eric or Leslie on the show, you need to. Okay, Eric is flat out podcast gold. Leslie is one of the sweetest and most genuine human beings built that's out there. They make such a power couple on the fishing scene. Very, very proud to call them my friends, and love fishing against them out there when we're out and about. But yeah, man, that was an awesome deal. We got a lot of good viewership on that, a lot of good response. People came back with a lot of just really cool replies and information, that were popping back on that, and we were we were pretty excited about that when we could bring on a local Colorado guy and get that kind of return. And we started to realize where our analytics were rooted, right? I mean, that was where the TPO started to understand things. And what season 3 offered us a chance to do was really start to dial in and understand things. This was also one that got a lot of good viewership that we put together. And what this was, we're coming back from lacrosse. And this was basically, this isn't an intro. This is just something I did from our recap.
Hey guys, welcome back to the YouTube channel here. So here is, as promised on our other platforms, here is our full recap of the lacrosse event.
Dude, the grain of that video makes you think that I was shooting this thing like on a freaking 8mm video camera from my truck. I think it was just the low light, and it was the old phone that I had at the time that was firing that thing up. But we're talking about lacrosse. We give a full recap on this. It's basically me in the truck and going over the information of what we saw through. And as you can see, the light was getting a little better. It's because I was driving at like 6 in the morning, going through Iowa there. Got the pie eyes going and everything, just looking a little tired cruising down the road. It had been a long week, but it was the All-American Kayak Series, the championship, one of the first events I had a chance to really big events. And it was a 3-day setup that basically we had a chance to partake in it, and it was amazing. All-American always puts on a great event, always, man. And so that was super cool. That was one of our bigger ones on the Doc Talk there. A lot of folks really appreciated our candid approach to that and how we went about basically kind of breaking things down, giving you a behind the scenes, really, if you will, of what it looked like. We did not qualify for day 3 on that event, but actually what they had done is they had allowed anybody, because they were doing big bass on the hour, so they allowed anybody to stay. If you were registered, you could stay there and still fish that 3rd day for big bass, so we did. Season 3, man, we had a lot of amazing interviews. We had Brian Schiller, right? That was our first time meeting him, season 3. Matt Collins, one of the first times. Now he's a part of our TPO Pro team, but Matt was on there. Matt Johnson, one of the first interviews we ever had. Jeremy Pierce from Colorado here. Let's see. Jordan Westerman, big name across the nation there in the kayak scene. Scott Brands, Trev Stuckey. Jim Strawbridge, one of the first ones we ever put him on, was in season 3. Season 3 was a big year for us, man. We had a lot of people there. We had the Romans Warrior Foundation, of course, on there, as we always do, which they'll be coming up pretty soon. With this season, we'll be having them on. Michael Gasparini of the Romans Warrior Foundation out of Illinois. Caleb Zimmer, had him in there. Dude, season 3 was a big one. We were hitting hard on all cylinders with that. And what was kind of cool is that's what led us up to where we ended up going. We did some recap videos. Season 3, we had Memorial Day. We had Okaboji from the All-American. We were doing a lot more work with the All-American in Season 3. Things were going. We had Chris Turner on here from the Stop 22 tour. We had, let's see, we had an awesome preview of the All-American Kayak Series. We were doing a lot of work with them. This was in 2023 when we were really getting things moving. And probably, hands down, maybe one of the most memorable interviews I've ever done. And I'm going to let this roll for about four minutes or so here. This is national recording artist, United States combat veteran Marine, Mr. Stephen Cochran, who is one of the co-founders of the Stop 22, co-founders of Label 22. He and I have met many, many times. He is a guy that I consider my friend. I love Stephen and his family. And it took forever to finally get him on the show, man. This is a guy that charted in the billboards, man, back in the early 2000s, late 90s, early 2000s. He charted in country music, right through the Billboard Top 100. Stephen is no stranger. He's been on the Grand Ole Opry stage. He's been at the Ryman. He's done the scene, right? He knows the stuff. And that's all after his service to the United States of America, after he went through what he went through. This would have marked the very first episode that I actually had to put a warning on for language, right? And I think we were doing this one live, if memory serves. And Yeah, I should have known. I got a combat Marine on there. You better be, there's going to be some language that's going to come out from that. But we had the most amazing time. Stephen was a fantastic dude to bring on here. Let's spin this bad boy up. This would have been season 3, episode 71, to give you an idea how far along we were moving, where we were at. And that puts that date, November 20th of 2023. We had just kicked in to the podcast season here. Let's bring this bad boy up. We're going to add to stage. There it is. Yeah, we'll kick this on, and we'll get you a full deal here. We'll speed through this.
Joining us here for this episode. Before we get to that, I want to make sure we pay the bills here. This episode of the podcast brought to you by Blackfish, because you can't choose the weather, but you can choose your gear. Dude, I'm getting ready to head down for 2 days. Going to get down into the 20s. Let's just start going down.
So basically, we cut into, and we talked. Stephen and I had a chance to talk and just talk about his service, talk about his work with the Stop 22 tour, his decisions with his career in music, the ups and downs of that. Dude, it's one of the best interviews that I've ever done, and had an absolute blast. It went an hour and a half long. It's available on audio download out there. You can look it up. It was season 3, episode 71, roughly November 20th, 2023 is when it dropped. And it was, like I said, still to this date, I'll openly admit it didn't get a ton of views, but we're kind of used to that. We see that when it comes to the veteran support stuff, when we're not talking fishing. Sometimes that's a little bit harder sale, and there's not as many folks that tune in for those. But I'll tell you what, if you want to meet Stephen and get to know and understand the roots of what drives a human being to a life of serving others, and the many adventures that come with, being a combat veteran Marine, Stephen is that guy, man. Check out that interview. Go back and check it out in November of 2023. It was one of the most influential interviews for me. I realized at that point we could dig deeper, we could stay true to our cause, regardless of clicks and things of that nature. It's one of the interviews that I'm so very, very proud of that we put out there, and that we were able to get Steven on camera and get that out there. And we'll hopefully get him back. Sal Gonzalez is another one we want to get. We interviewed Jonathan Wells. We had him. All these guys are combat veterans, singers, songwriters that write songs about veterans, for veterans, that only they will understand through and through. But it's great music. It's amazing quality that you pick up here from these guys, and what they, the talent they have beyond just the amazing hearts and souls that they possess is something to behold. And we're like I said, we're so very proud to be a part of that and watch that. Season 3 would come to a close. Season 4 would start, and that began our trip with the Paddle and Fin podcast network. Dude, the production stuff went through the roof for us. We were able to really start kicking in to some serious production with things, and a great deal of that came from Randy Newton. Randy was very skilled in these areas, and he helped us a ton put this stuff together. And really kind of get things, put through there. And leading up to that season 4, season 3, we also had one of the bigger names we had on here, Marty Hughes. We had him for the first time. That would have been in February of 23. So here we are, 2025. The TPO Doc Talk podcast keeps going, keeps interviewing. We have a lot of these legends come back year after year because it's worth having them on here and listening to them. We've had the Romans Warrior Foundation on here many, many times, and we'll have them more as time goes on through this. But as I said, we were talking about the Paddle and Fin podcast network. That kicked into overdrive for us about the 3rd, 4th, 5th episode, somewhere in there. We started into the Paddle and Fin, and our podcast went to whole new levels. The Paddle and Fin launched us on the fishing side of things, a considerable amount. It was a lot of fun, and we became the official podcast of the All-American Kayak Series for that season. We covered all of their stuff the best we could, putting things through. We became official members of Team New Canoe at the national level. That was super cool. During that season 3, we also became official team members of Eagle Claw Fishing. Those things still remain in place today. We're very proud of those things. Very what do we have here? Oh yeah, very proud of those things, and very happy to see that stuff. We had Nick Wetherill, one of the first times, come on in season 4, starting up the Paddle and Fin. He was one of our first guys that basically we had on there, and we had our new intro for the Paddle and Fin. Let's spring that up here. That's just a few seconds long. You can't beat that. This was with the help of Randy and John Rapp, and those guys helped motivate us and help us move towards this. That music sounds familiar because that has continued to be our intro music, and it's basically a similar intro, though, of what we have. Just a few different logos and such that we've continued with. When something works, why change it, right? That's basically our view on that whole thing. But that was basically season 4 at the Paddle and Fin. It was our intro that we were able to fire up and get things rolling, and get stuff moving there. As we closed out season 4, we had this opportunity present itself with the Heroes Media Group, and here we are today, man. That's really where it's at. That's our recap. That's what we've gone through. I encourage you to go back, check out some of our shows, man. We've got some amazing interviews in there. We went through a series doing veteran-owned small businesses in the fishing industry. Lots of All-American Kayak Series videos that we had put together. We had some of our stuff that we had put together with the TPO piece in mind, where we talk, quite a bit about the mission and some of those. But a great number of these interviews out there that we had, that basically just, it's a lot of cool information, a lot of cool stories, fishing stories. Charlie, I'm looking, seeing he's in there. Yeah, man, we've had some, we had Brady Storrs fresh off of his national championship he had picked up. Tyler Cole, Todd Martins, Dwayne Wally of Tourney X. He's been on the show a few times. I'm telling you, man. We're pretty proud of the people that we've had a chance to talk with, meet, and bring into the show here, and have out there. And we hope you enjoy a lot of that stuff moving forward. We're going to keep doing the fishing stuff, right? I mean, we're going to stay focused on that. But at the same time, we're also not going to run away from the lower click stuff. We're going to stay true to our demographic of who we're here to serve, serving those that serve and have served. So we're going to stay moving on important issues in the veteran community. So every now and again, we've made the decision. We're not going to spin up a new podcast for this, but every now and again, we're going to talk about some issues. We're going to share opinions about issues that mean a lot to our veterans in their community. You know what? They and their brothers and sisters have given the ultimate in sacrifice to protect and preserve the bounty of liberty and freedom that we enjoy as citizens. And they absolutely have every vested interest in what's going on in our country when it comes to the political landscape, when it comes to the future, when it comes to our involvement in foreign affairs. They have more, quite frankly, their opinions mean more to me than somebody who, sits behind the freedoms that they've been provided and complains about those freedoms. That opinion doesn't resonate too well with me. And I absolutely, this isn't a political statement on either side, because see, we don't put any weight in political figures. I don't care who they are. I don't give them that level of expectation. Therefore, they can't disappoint me. And I mean that for both the Democrats and Republicans, okay? Because they certainly, they're politicians, same circus, different clowns, in my opinion. But when issues come up that concern America and concern this means a lot to the veteran community. And so we're going to start covering some of those things. We're going to talk about some of those things. And you may or may not agree with our opinion on it, but one thing you will always know is that what I care about myself personally, and what the TPO stands for, is America, is the people. It's not a government. It's not politics. It's not an ideology, if you will. At least not as we've been shown. It's not extreme left, extreme right. It has nothing to do with any of those. Those guys failed us. They've all failed this country to this point, and I think it's time for a moderate, more common sense-driven voice to start taking over and move forward. But, one thing I will always reject is that it being America first does not make you racist. It does not make you intolerant of others. Having America and our citizens and their best interest and our futures to be the priority and number one is absolutely as patriotic as it gets. Okay, I have no problem helping others that need help when we're in a position to help them. But when we are having enough issues on our own that we can't even get our own stuff squared away, it seems rather counterproductive for us to be taking care of people across the sea for special interest when we have our own citizens right here that are struggling to rebuild homes, struggling to get their houses, get their homes back, and get their neighborhoods and their towns after a natural disaster strikes it. I have a problem with that, or that we're giving away lots of resources to individuals that are not citizens of the United States of America. There's a problem with that. Become a citizen, and there's no problem. That's literally as easy as it gets. So, as you can see, we got opinions, baby, and we're gonna talk about some of those as things go on. And I love a good, educated discussion, one that's not built or driven by emotion. And so, yeah, we'll cover some of that stuff as we move forward. But of course, always the TPO Doc Talk podcast is going to have fishing in there. And we're about to get into the fishing season, which I can probably promise you that most of our content's going to be driven around the fishing season, our field ops events that are going to be going off, and some of the cool trips that we got going, and then, of course, the tournament recap stuff. All of that is at the heart of why the TPO exists and how we became where we are, and how we're going to go to the future. So we'll keep that stuff flowing. All right, folks, listen, that's it. We're going to call it. We're going to end this thing here. Thank you so very much for watching this thing through and sticking with us to the end. We appreciate all of you. Please make sure to go subscribe at our YouTube channel. Pass this message on to others as well. Likes, follows, shares. Also, remember, hit that TPO merch store up. If you've been wondering why I haven't been talking to you, remember, this is a pre-recorded. We are not live. That's why I have not replied to you, is because this is not a live show. And we said that at the very beginning. So that's it. If you didn't pay attention at the beginning, that's on you, not me. All right. Take care of y'all. As always, tight lines. Be safe.